Good morning, people. How you doing? Welcome to the Doug Rice Show. Look at the size of that shoe. Good Lord, they're huge. How are you? Doug Rice. Good morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Brought to you by Twitware right there. Oh, man, I like that AI music. I like the AI music. I mean, they can do the music. I am good with that. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, Negroes, Hebrews, Israel. The latest one I got, Zion. Good morning, Zion. I like that. Yes, Zion. They take everything from us. They take everything from Negroes. Everything from Negroes. So, good morning, one and all. It's the 29th of November, 2023. Thank you so much for tuning in to me. Good morning as I walk you through to work, maybe. I don't know where you're going, but just get there, okay? And whatever you do, if you decide to go, do me a favor, look at the show. But today I'm bringing some interesting facts. Oh, yeah, folks. There's some interesting stuff. Now, I got a team, I guess. I got a team. These guys are on top of it. And the Black Codes, the Mississippi Black Codes. This one from Detrina. This one from the moderator, Detrina, long ago. Told me about the Black Code, said I needed to do something about the Black Code. Guess what? I got the Black Codes. It's an interesting document. Ladies and gentlemen, please like, subscribe, share, do all of the things you see down there. In fact, go to Twitware, twitware.com. That is the sponsor, Twitware. I like to lean back and let Twitware show. Whoa, just so you know, twitware.com, go to Twitware, use TDRS as a promo code, get 10%. I'm waiting for a big order, you know, like a sports team or something, let's get somebody on board. Because that's what I do. All right, Black Codes. Folks, did you know about this? Well, let me move this out of the way so you don't miss any of it. Mississippi Black Codes, 100 years before I was born, 1865. An act to confer civil rights on freedmen, that's what they called Negroes, newly freed slaves. The Emancipation Proclamation of 1863 took place, and this document, these Black Codes assigned to the state of Mississippi, set a touchtone for how America would deal with this population of newly freed men. That's what they call them. Now, I want you to understand the term civil rights in this document does not, in fact, point to any rights that are anyway deemed civil. There is no civility in this document. And I'm going to add, it is an abridged document. Now, it's complete in all its makeup, okay? A lot of time, it will not take up. But I want you to listen carefully. Here's the reason I want you to hear it. This is an actuality. This is something that occurred. This isn't just something that folks have heard. This is history. More than that, this isn't taught, and I was corrected yesterday. Again, the illustrious moderators told me that none of our history is taught effectively in schools, grade kindergarten through 12, and that most information regarding the history of Negroes in this country must be found in the college and university areas. Now, I don't know just how stringent teachers may be regarding not affecting education in classrooms. I come from quite a long list of teachers, and this is what I intend to do. Teach. That's all I do. This is important information. This is what needs to be set in front of our nation. And I want you to listen carefully. And I want you to listen squarefully. If that's a word, I want you to be on your square on this. Oh, wow, that's interesting. I did that. And I want you to really pay attention. I really do. This one's interesting. All right. So, Mississippi Black Codes, 1865. Grab your coffee, folks.
Mississippi's Black Codes, 1865. An act to confer civil rights on freedmen and for other purposes.
Wait.
Abridged.
Wait.
Section 1.
Oh. Wait. Those other purposes, I did want to get into those. You're going to discover what those other purposes are in short order. So I did want to set your mind at ease there.
All freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes may sue and be sued, implead and be impleaded, in all the courts of law and equity of this state, and may acquire personal property, and shows as in action, by descent or purchase, and may dispose of the same in the same manner and to the same extent that white persons may, provided that the provisions of this section shall not be so construed as to allow any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto to rent or lease any lands or tenements except in incorporated cities or towns, in which places the corporate authorities shall control the same.
Okay, so let's stop there first. So there is the first shot, the first salvo, and they set the tone, right? And if they're considering us freedmen, right? First thing we want to do is control where we live. I thought that was interesting. First thing out of their mouth is where we reside, because we were on their plantations. Okay, there we abide. Now, consider that it really gets in some detail here. I've not read ahead completely, but they get their point across and they don't do so discreetly. I will tell you that. Let's move forward. All right, let's just pay attention to the sections, folks.
Section 2. All freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes may intermarry with each other in the same manner and under the same regulations that are provided by law for white persons, provided that the clerk of probate shall keep separate records of the same. Section 3. All freedmen, free Negroes, or mulattoes.
Stop. Do you notice how they call them freedmen, free Negroes, or mulattoes? We are in a class by ourselves. We are a class unto ourselves. They've said it over and over and over and over, and they continue through time to make sure Negroes are a particular group. And only until recently has that changed. Remember that, folks, because we've studied and done the math.
Who do now and have herebefore lived and cohabited together as husband and wife shall be taken and held in law as legally married, and the issue shall be taken and held as legitimate for all purposes, that it shall not be lawful for any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto to intermarry with any white person, nor for any white person to intermarry with any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, and any person who shall so intermarry shall be deemed guilty of felony, and on conviction thereof shall be confined in the state penitentiary for life.
I'm sorry. Y'all choke on your coffee? What's wrong? You okay? What's wrong? No. Y'all need to hear this. You think this is so long ago? Oh, it don't matter, huh? Let me tell you something. The folks that put together all of this are still alive today. I don't mean in the physical sense. I mean, the sentiment is still alive today because they were permitted to go back and go on their merry way and procreate and have children all day. So those children of children of children of children can say the exact same thing that we're looking at today. Okay.
And those shall be deemed freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes who are of pure Negro blood. And the...
What's that? Whoa. What was that? I'm just a little bit, just repeat that for me, would you?
And those shall be deemed freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes who are of pure Negro blood.
Stop. So now they've included freedmen, free Negroes and mulattoes who are of pure Negro blood. So now remember this, folks. This is very important. Words are extremely important. What they've done, even the commas. I've heard that commas have come into play lately. So now we understand that there's blood involved. Oh, we're going to get some stuff solved today. You hear me? So there's blood involved, and they know it. Let's continue.
And those descended from a Negro to the third generation, inclusive, though one ancestor in each generation may have been a white person.
Whoa! Those descended from a Negro to the third generation, inclusive, though one ancestor in each generation may have been a white person. Do you understand how compartmentalized they are with their lives? I mean, there they are.
Section 4.
Uh-oh.
In addition to cases in which freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes are now by law competent witnesses, freedmen, free Negroes, or mulattoes shall be competent in civil cases when a party or parties to the suit, either plaintiff or plaintiffs, defendant or defendants, and a white person or white persons, is or are the opposing party or parties, plaintiff or plaintiffs, defendant or defendants. They shall also be competent witnesses in all criminal prosecutions where the crime charged is alleged to have been committed by a white person upon or against the person or property of a freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, provided.
Whoa, provided? Let's see what that provided means. Let's see.
That in all cases said witnesses shall be examined in open court, on the stand, except, however, they may be examined before the grand jury, and shall in all cases be subject to the rules and tests of the common law as to competency and credibility.
There it is. That's it right there. That's the rub. The judgment of competency and credibility lies with tests and rules subject to the court. Let me tell you something, folks. If you think that in 1865, a Negro, testifying against a white person was of any consequence and served any purpose other than to dismiss it offhand, I don't know what country you think in or what land, but let's see where they land. Come on, let's go.
Section 5. Every freedman, free Negro, and mulatto shall, on the second Monday of January, 1866, and annually thereafter, have a lawful home or employment, and shall have written evidence thereof as follows, to wit, if living in any incorporated city, town, or village, a license from that mayor thereof.
Stop. What? Hold on. 2 years ago, we were slaves on a plantation. And now you're saying, I need you to hear that. On the second Monday of January, 1866, and annually thereafter, here's what they better have. Here's what they gotta have. They gotta have a lawful home or employment, and they gotta have written evidence thereof as follows. I want to know what white man is going to write evidence that they've given a Negro, newly freed slave, a lawful home and employment. That guy's life ought to be real interesting. That's interesting. And to wit, if living in any incorporated city, which they will shortly thereafter make sure all are incorporated, you got to have a license from that mayor. And I'm sure the mayor is going to be very agreeable to making sure that a former slave just a few years ago was on the plantation getting whipped by white men at will and still provide that same Negro what he needs to survive. We all know that's a bunch of bull. You're watching the Doug Rice show. That's cool. All right, that's interesting. Wow.
And if living outside of an incorporated city, town, or village, from the member of the Board of Police of his beat, authorizing him or her to do irregular and job work.
Y'all hear this?
Or a written contract, as provided in Section 6 in this Act, which license may be revoked for cause at any time by the authority granting the same.
So if you are stupid, foolish enough, and dumb enough to give a Negro any kind of license, any kind of job, any kind of proof that they can legally reside anywhere around white men, they will promptly approach you and demand that you rescind that license or your very life. I can just imagine sweat and strife of being a white man back then. Even one that wanted to be fair, he couldn't even pretend, huh? In this country, Negroes don't win. I need you to feel this. This isn't some make-believe. This happened. And the sentiment is still among us, around us. It's everywhere. It's making a resurgence in the form of Donald Trump. You don't think so? What makes you believe that these codes ever did leave? They're still here. Here we go.
Section 6. All contracts for labor made with freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes for a longer period than 1 month shall be in writing and in duplicate, attested and read to said freedman, free Negro, or mulatto by a beat, city, or county officer, or 2 disinterested white persons of the county in which the labor is to perform, of which each party shall have 1, and said contracts shall be taken and held as entire contracts, and if the laborer shall quit the service of the employer before the expiration of his term of service, without good cause, he shall forfeit his wages for the year up to the time of quitting.
What? Oh, wait a minute. We're going over black codes of 1865 in the state of Mississippi for Negroes, just to let you know, mulattoes, freedmen, and free Negroes, specifically those of Negro blood, as they themselves have stated. This is the Doug Wright Show. How are you? I thought I would send you off to work with a good and proper attitude. You understand? I want you to walk in amongst the populace there at your job with the right frame of mind. Do you understand me? And I want you to understand, seek, that you'll find this might assist you in accomplishing this too. I mean, hey, I'm just here all damn day. You understand? I don't get it, man. How any of us are not looking for the exits. How any of us can just pretend this didn't go on. And for those of you that say, oh, this is in the past. No, this isn't in the past. This is coming back fast, real fast. And it's right under the nose of most Negroes who suppose they're safe in their, rarefied air. I don't know. While they're up there, they better understand what's bubbling beneath them. There's nothing I can find to go with that, so let's just go. Oh, who knows what these white folks might bequeath them. I found it. All right. Back at it, folks. Just keep watching.
Section 7. Every civil officer shall, and every person may, arrest and carry back to his or her legal employer any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto who shall have quit the service of his or her employer.
Stop. Did you hear that? This is where Karens come from. This is where the attitude of holding a Negro that happens to come into your white sight accountable for his being, depending on the kind of Negro you're seeing. If you can't understand, they live this same principle in this land right now, day to day, man to man. This is where they stand. That's an American.
Before the expiration of his or her term of service without good cause, and said officer in person shall be entitled to receive for arresting and carrying back every deserting employee aforesaid the sum of $5.
So they're going to pay you to arrest somebody you don't know because you think they are doing something you don't like, whatever the case may be. And if you're successful in retrieving this individual you have accused, you will receive an additional $5, which I can't imagine how much that might be, but I believe there's even more.
And 10 cents per mile from the place of arrest to the place of delivery, and the same shall be paid by the employer and held as a set-off for so much against the wages of said deserting employee.
Let me explain how. Do you understand where they get what they get when they get what they get from looking at us still and yet? Do you not understand how this is playing out? I'm going to ask you something, folks. I'm trying not to shout. You ever come across one or two of them that just look at you? They look at you and they look like they want to say something. You know what I'm saying? They look at you and they look like they want to ask you a goddamn question. Some of them. Some of them have the temerity to do just that. And most of you honorable, noble Negroes, you are accommodating. You know that? I mean, Most Negroes are so accommodating to these intrusive, nosy, trifling individuals that want us to account for our very existence in their presence in most instances. And all you gotta be is just one or two Negroes too light in an area that's a little too white, and you will really want to get out of sight. I care not to, hold back today, because I don't know where I'm gonna be tomorrow. So listen, folks, this ain't no joke. This is why Negroes have sorrow. I'm giving it to you right. And we'll do this all night if we got to. Just like, subscribe, share, do all the things you see down there. And let's continue this. Remember, I don't want the point missed. This was law. Now you go to Mississippi, you go to Alabama today. You tell me what you see as you walk about your way. You hear me? The residue of this. All right, let me get to it.
Provided that said arrested party, after being so returned, may appeal to the justice of the peace or member of the Board of Police of the county, who, on notice to the alleged employer, shall try summarily whether said appellant is legally employed by the alleged employer, and has good cause to quit said employer. Either party shall have the right of appeal to the county court, pending which the alleged deserter shall be remanded to the alleged employer or otherwise disposed of, and shall be right and just, and the decision of the county court shall be final.
Now, I need you to pay attention to otherwise disposed of. I need you to understand the power that these white people had over the lives of newly freed Negroes. It was absolute. And I want you to imagine as well, folks, as they walked about the country with this kind of power over life and death, over humans, over people, had control over their last breath. And, they'd do what they want until nothing was left. This is real sinister shit. And that kind of power passed down just through generation. You think it's left anywhere? That's the reason they think they can stop your black ass whenever they want to and ask you what you're doing. Do you understand? I said it yesterday, I'll say it again. Traitors are never permitted to live in a society where they have expressed traitorous attitudes or activity. That's just the way it is. But in this one instance, in which the punishment couldn't fit the crime more appropriately, that punishment was withheld. They were told to go on back home. You rebelled. Go have children. Go procreate. Go instill your sentiment before it's too late into the future generation, so that generationally and later you'll be able to inspirationally not be able to abate the hate that now seems to be riling in every state. You let them live. Now look what they got to give. What? I said it. All right, let's get back at it, folks. This is the Doug Rice Show. We ain't telling jokes.
Section 8. Upon affidavit made by the employer of any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, or other credible person, before any justice of the peace or member of the Board of Police, that any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto legally employed by said employer has illegally deserted said employment, such justice of the peace or member of the Board of Police issue as warrant or warrants, returnable before himself or other such officer.
I want you to understand they're framing the agreement to work for these insipid, lazy, feckless individuals. That if you determine you no longer want to work for them, maybe they're despiteful, maybe they're just heinous, maybe there's just racist, redneck, Southern Confederates that have you in their clutches. And perhaps you want to escape from them, I can just imagine. They act as if the act of working for them is an obligation and not a choice. If you got something to say about what they're doing to you, they ain't gonna hear your voice. You know it was coming, right? So what you think happened to that? What you think? Everything's cool now? Is that how you think? Just because you can go into school with them now? Is that what you think? Yeah, I mean, listen, under the wrong circumstances, under the wrong conditions, a Negro may not return from his mission with these individuals. I'm gonna give you the heads up, man. I mean, you think of what we've been going through. Don't you understand? We got some of them that went to camping in the woods and didn't come back. What? Yeah, the dude was black. said something happened. He had to stand his ground, and that's pretty much the end of that sound. You feel me? So, I mean, they're finding Negroes lynched. They're finding Negroes hung. I don't know, folks. Seems like the bell can't be unrung. That's right, I'm going to keep going.
To any sheriff, constable, or special deputy, commanding him to arrest said deserter, and return him or her to said employer, and the like proceedings shall be held as provided in the preceding section, and it shall be lawful for any officer to whom such warrant shall be directed to execute said warrant in any county in this state, and that said warrant may be transmitted without endorsement to any like officer of another county, to be executed and returned as aforesaid, and the said employer shall pay the costs of said warrants and arrest and return, which shall be set off for so much against the wages of said deserter.
Let me tell you something, folks. When you quit a job today, do they call you a deserter? And I'm going to ask and say, I'm sure they didn't treat white people like that. I'm pretty much sure. Let me tell you what Black Codes of 1865 of the state of Mississippi is to me. It's an invitation for Negroes to leave the state. Now, let's frame this before we continue, because I want to massage your mental sinew. Listen carefully. They wrote all this and Negroes couldn't read. I don't understand the need. Who'd they write this for? They wrote this for them. They wrote this for them to impose and enforce on us, the folks that didn't know. So effectively, a white man who could read could take these Black codes and just do what he needs, just whatever, right? Just walk up to your black ass, your ignorant, unlearned, unread ass, and tell you how you are in error and what he's gonna do. That's where we are. How are you? I had to. All right. Like, subscribe, share. We're going to do this till it's done. That's right.
Section 9. If any person shall persuade or attempt to persuade, entice, or cause any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto to desert from the legal employment of any person before the expiration of his or her term of service, or shall knowingly employ any such deserting freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, or shall knowingly give or sell to any such deserting freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, any food, raiment, or other thing, he or she shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and, upon conviction, shall be fined not less than $25 and not more than $200 in the costs.
So you can't give a Negro food. That's the final sentence, because they're not talking about, luring a Negro away to work for you. They're not talking about you seeing a Negro being treated like a piece of shit and saying, I'd leave if I were you. But the final nail in that particular verbal coffin is that you can't give a Negro any food. Now, what does that do to your Negro mood?
And if said fine and cost shall not be immediately paid, the court shall sentence said convict to not exceeding 2 months' imprisonment in the county jail, and he or she shall moreover be liable to the party injured in damages. Provided, if any person shall, or shall attempt to, persuade, entice, or cause any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto to desert from any legal employment of any person, with the view to employ said freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, without the limits of this state, such person, on conviction, shall be fined not less than $50, and not more than $500 in costs, and if said fine and costs shall not be immediately paid, the court shall sentence said convict to not exceeding 6 months' imprisonment in the county jail.
All right, so we're going to take a pause for the calls to let you know this is The Doug Rice Show brought to you by Twidware. Twidware is the brand that most Negroes can understand. It is Negro owned and Negro run. And go to Twidware and have some fun. Go to twidware.com. Use the promo code TDRS. That is the Doug Rice Show. And get 10% off all purchases, so you know. Also, if you like what you hear, and I hope that you do, please, if you would, give to the shoe. I am in a situation, and I hope to remedy it with some, I don't know, miracles or anyway, I am set to do this because I believe this is the thing Negroes need to read. We need to know and understand why we need to leave this land. And leave, you'll have the option of doing. The end of the plot, I'll try not to ruin. But you read scripture and you believe in the Bible, then you should listen for your very survival. And if you do, well, I'll appreciate you, and I'll give you a PDF or two. Yeah, I got PDFs. I got them aplenty. Okay, I can't find nothing with that, but hey, we're still in the throe of this show. All right, so you know, twidware.com. Look at that, man. Let me tell you something. I have to cool down the studio, if you will, for as long as I have a studio here. And that's it. This stuff is thick, and we're on the winter. Okay, so you got to tell you, this stuff is good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Also, we put together a twid pack. Did I tell you about that? Yeah, look. Shoes. Look at those shoes. I like those little flashy twid. I don't know. I'd want to be dancing or something if I'm wearing that. But this right here, I can't play basketball. But, you know, I'd look good coming on the court. You know, people would ask me about, what's this? Who's this? You know what I mean? You know, and of course, I'm waiting for my own hat to replace this hat, you know, even though I cut my hair. I know about that. The guy's got quality stuff. He's put his heart and soul in this, and he's a tough guy. He's a good guy. That's the hat I want. The next one, I think, just in case Twid is watching. Yes. So, yes, and this one. All right. So, yeah, you guys go to twidware.com, give to the patron, give to the Cash App, all of that. And we're going to get back to this because it's important. Now, appreciate you being here somehow. If I'm getting you into work, it's about, what, it's 8:32. You got plenty of time to get there. You? All right, so hit the like button. Hit the notification bell. I don't know if the notification bell works so well. I've heard it doesn't. But they're, you know, they can shadow ban all day. I had an attack yesterday on my website, DougRice.com, or TheDougRiceShow.com. I had to call and raise a ruckus, and they got it fixed. It took them a few hours. They do not like this information out, but it is something that I must do. I believe that I have found what I am put on this planet to do, and I do it just for you, Negroes. Yeah, just you. All right. Like, subscribe, share. We're going to continue looking over the Mississippi Black Codes. This is extremely insightful, extremely informative, extremely insulting, and beyond the normative. It's section 10. We're going to continue until it's over, and then we'll close the show. And then I got to go. Let's continue.
Section 10. It shall be lawful for any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto to charge any white person, freedman, free Negro, or mulatto by affidavit, with any criminal offense against his or her person or property, and upon such affidavit the proper process shall be issued and executed as if said affidavit was made by a white person.
Wait, what did you say? So I want to make sure I read that right, because you can imagine the caveats are coming. It shall be lawful for any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto to charge any white person, freedman, free mulatto, with any criminal offense against his or her person, property upon. But it's just interesting, and you can treat it as just like it was a white person doing it. I think that's very important that you know that. I like that. That's very cool of them.
And it shall be lawful for any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto in any action, suit, or controversy pending, or about to be instituted in any court of law equity in this state, to make all needful and lawful affidavits as shall be necessary for the institution, prosecution, or defense of such suit or controversy.
So I can imagine the outcome of a newly freed slave that may even be aware of this code to bring charges on a white person in 1865. I mean, I can imagine that Negro would no longer be alive. So that's interesting, but they put it in there. Isn't that nice?
Section 11. The penal laws of this state, in all cases not otherwise specially provided for, shall apply and extend to all freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes.
And I need everybody to pay attention that they continue to harp on that particular identification, specifically Negroes. You know, they've taken that word and removed it from our psyche and made it something that we need to look down upon. In fact, the term Negro during times long past was a royal signature. It's a royal indication, and it should have lasted. But this next section in the Reconstruction and Act to regulate the relation of master and apprentice as relates to freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes. Now, this is interesting. An act to regulate the relation of master and apprentice. All right, so let's get into this.
An act to regulate the relation of master and apprentice as relates to freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes. Section 1. It shall be the duty of all sheriffs, justices of the peace, and other civil officers of the several counties in this state to report to the probate courts of their respective counties semi-annually at the January and July terms of said courts, all freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes under the age of 18 in their respective counties, beats, or districts who are orphans, or whose parent or parents have not the means, or who refuse to provide for and support said minors, and thereupon. It shall be the duty of said probate court to order the clerk of said court to apprentice said minors to some competent and suitable person on such terms as the court may direct, having a particular care to the interest of said minor, provided that the former owner of said minors shall have the preference. When, in the opinion of the court, he or she shall be a suitable person for that purpose.
So here's the deal, folks. I need you to understand this. That ain't cute. Don't get the warm and fuzzies like they're caring and they care. There are some despicable individuals within their ranks. And I want you to imagine them getting their hands on our Negro children. Oh, they love the kids. You know, they talk about it too. I mean, you know, they project all that they do. It's kind of, it's almost laughable. And it's true. So I don't want anyone to get the sentiment that any good here is clearly meant. It's not. It's not meant. It's the act of control and power. And I can't imagine what they've done to children at this particular hour. So yeah, interesting that they've made it complete. Let's continue.
Section 2. The said court shall be fully satisfied that the person or persons to whom said minor shall be apprenticed shall be a suitable person to have the charge and care of said minor, and fully to protect the interest of said minor.
I didn't trust these individuals then. I don't trust them now. And I'm pretty sure there's no way to trust them anyhow. That's interesting, isn't it? And you need to hear this, and you need to understand that some of them have this proclivity still. I mean, I look at Charisse Theron. She's taken 2 Negro males and she's turned them into 2 Negro females. I don't understand how just Judge Barrett, a Catholic, can adopt a couple of our Negro children. And almost, I'm looking at the face of this creature. If you don't know who not Chief Justice, but she's a justice in the Supreme Court. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. I don't talk outside my neck. This woman has our kids, and we need to protect those kids. Those kids are going through some ritualistic shit. And I read it, I said it, and I meant it. And I'm here to represent it. Go check it out. You can find that information. They want our children of the Negro nation. They want our kids. And they love getting our kids alone. Let me tell you what Clive Davis did to Diddy. Well, it's shown. Okay, I'll stop. Let's continue.
The said court shall require the said master or mistress to execute bond and security payable to the state of Mississippi, conditioned that he or she shall furnish said minor with sufficient food and clothing, to treat said minor humanely, furnish medical attention in case of sickness, teach, or cause to be taught, him or her to read and write, if under 15 years old, and will conform to any law that may be hereafter passed for the regulation of the duties and relation of master and apprentice.
Stop. So now we know they're framing the kidnapping of black children and the allowance of such activity, because you can understand. You better understand what I'm telling you, okay? Look how they treat their own children. Look at the specimens that they create through their own parentage. Now I want you to imagine a hate-filled, racist piece of feckless trash that somehow gets his hands on a young Negro child with any intent he intends. He doesn't even have to pretend. I mean this. And back then, there was no perversion that they sought to have any coercion. They really just went all in. We know this, folks. This is very interesting.
Provided that said apprentice shall be bound by indenture in case of males until they are 21 years old, and in case of females until they are 18 years old.
I don't even want to discuss what they may have done to the females, the Negro women, females that they've, taken into their clutches. Wow.
Section 3. In the management and control of said apprentice, said master or mistress shall have the power to inflict such moderate corporal chastisement as a father or guardian.
Oh, hold up. See, now this is the thing that chaps my heart. Now, and what I will not abide. So what they're telling you here openly is that, they can put their hands on the children that they have collected. See, this is intricately connected with what we see today, because so many of them approach Negroes that way. They feel they can touch us. They feel they can reach out and put their hands on us. And when they put their hands on you, you make sure that they don't put their hands on you again. That's just an interesting dynamic. Strangers that put their hands on other children is something I seriously cannot put any stock in. I think that's corporal punishment and chastisement. They do not chastise as a father or a guardian. They try to chastise, we know, as a slave owner, a master. And with no accountability, I'm sure they beat them even faster. Yeah, it was going there. Move on.
Is allowed to infliction on his or her child or ward at common law, provided that in no case shall cruel or inhuman punishment be inflicted. Section 4. If any apprentice shall leave the employment of his or her master...
What the fuck is this about this employment or master? I need you to understand the lock-in that they had in this particular land. This is ridiculous, and it pisses me off. And what's more important, we couldn't read it. Not that we didn't need it, we couldn't even read it. At that time, nearly not a single Negro could have read this and understood that we were still enslaved under these creatures. And some of y'all got the nerve, man. Some of y'all got the nerve too.
Or mistress, without his or her consent, said master or mistress may pursue and recapture said apprentice, and bring him or her before any justice of the peace of the county, whose duty it shall be to remand said apprentice to the service of his or her master or mistress, and in the event of a refusal on the part of said apprentice so to return, then said justice shall commit said apprentice to the jail of said county on failure.
Do you know how miserable it must have been for Negroes back in 1865 in the state of goddamned Mississippi? And some of you cling to the memory of that shit. I mean, I've seen some of you clowns wearing Confederate flags as shirts, and I can't tell you how incredibly hurt that makes me feel to see you heal. I mean, do you really think this is where we belong? Oh, okay. Let me just keep
To
going.
give bond to the next term of the county court, and it shall be the duty of said court at the first term thereafter to investigate said case, and if the court shall be of opinion that said apprentice left the employment of his or her master or mistress without good cause, to order him or her to be
Punished.
as provided for the punishment of hired freedmen, as may be from time to time provided for by law for desertion, until he or she shall agree to return to the...
So they can just beat you until, they can just beat you until they can do that here still. The only satisfaction that you get is maybe they'll go to jail and maybe a shank will find them somehow. I mean, if they kneel on the neck and take a life, maybe they should indeed, feel a knife. What? Yeah, I said it. Y'all better get it out your head that we're better off dead.
The service of his or her master or mistress, provided that the court may grant continuances as in other cases, and provided further that if the court shall believe that said apprentice had good cause to quit his said master or mistress, the court shall discharge said apprentice from said indenture, and also enter a judgment against the master or...
Oh, good call. Boy, did you see that bone? Bam, they just threw a little bone. I'm just imagining the white man in this court that finds in the favor of a Negro. Where you gonna live? From the courthouse, you got to go. You know what you got to do? You got to roll it up out of town, partner. I swear for Lord, I'm telling the truth too. You let one white man stand up for a Negro in a town full of hate-filled, racist white men, and that white man got to go. From point A, from jump. That's it. You know it. So all of this is just for show and filter and shit.
mistress for not more than $100 from the use and benefit of said apprentice, to be collected on execution as in other cases. Section 5. If any person entice away any apprentice from his or her master or mistress, or shall knowingly employ an...
Stop. They keep revisiting this. What is it about enticing one of us from one of them by one of them that has to be mentioned now and again in this particular document? I'm a little bit confused. So is it some sort of problem that they had? You know I'm going to tell you what I think it was. I think that in some instances, some of them had a little bit of a heart. I'm going to take a little break because I want to share this part a little bit. And they may have seen that they were treated poorly, or they may have seen that this Negro had in value and could be of more value and treated well. And so I can imagine the barter system and the continued sell, despite the fact that in 1863, they supposedly let go of folks like you and me. But see, this is 1865. And when Negroes were alive here, I'm just trying to figure out how any Negro stayed in the state of Mississippi. I mean, employment is slavery. Apprenticeship is slavery. White association in Mississippi in the state of in the year of 1865 by any Negro was slavery. And if you were a Negro that was untethered, can you just imagine? Can you just imagine if you were a Negro that was somewhat capable of doing on your own? They never left that Negro alone. You had to leave state of Mississippi. If you had any skill or self-will, I don't think they'd ever left you still. All right, we're going to continue. Please like, subscribe, and share this live. I think there's more we can learn. Let's do this.
Apprentice, or furnish him or her food or clothing without the written consent of his or her master or mistress, or shall sell or give said apprentice spirits without such consent, Said person so offending shall be guilty of a misdemeanor, and shall, upon conviction thereof before the county court, be punished as provided for the punishment of person enticing from their employer hired. Freedmen, free Negroes, or mulattoes.
Deep.
Section 6. It shall be the duty of all civil officers of their respective counties to report any minors within their respective counties to said probate court who are subject to be apprenticed under the provisions of this act, from time to time as the facts may come to their knowledge, and it shall be the duty of said court from time to time as said minors shall be reported to them, or otherwise come to their knowledge, to apprentice said minors as hereinbefore provided.
Okay, so basically they got your kids on lock, all right? Basically, your children in Mississippi, Black Codes, 1865, don't let your children remain alive, because I might think they'll just come pick them right in front of your eyes. That's kind of weird, man. They just do what they want with Negroes. Now you know where the sentiment comes from. Now you know when you're standing outside your home, the one that you bought, and you're just sitting there minding your Negro business, you know why now a Karen has to approach you and cause you to give accounting for your very existence. You know now their insistence. You know where it comes from. Don't try resistance. Now you know. It's always been on their mind that they have permission to find out why you are where you are. Remember that. And so you have to ask yourself, and I ask myself this nearly every day now, when did Negroes stop looking for the exits? Because they're not going to get better. They're going to get worse. A lot worse. It's going to get worse. Okay, on with the verse. An act to amend the vagrant law of the state. Dear God. So this section, folks, this is like the cap on the cap, because you know, vagrancy, you're a free Negro, 1863. Here are the 1865 codes. Listen to me.
An act to amend the vagrant laws of the state. Section 1. All rogues and vagabonds, idle and dissipated persons, beggars, jugglers, or persons practicing unlawful games or plays, runaways, common drunkards, common nightwalkers, pilferers, lewd, wanton, or lascivious persons in speech or behavior, common railers and brawlers, persons who neglect their calling or employment, misspend what they earn, or do not provide for the support of themselves or their families, or dependents, and all other idle and disorderly persons.
Stop. Let me tell you who that all was. Those was all white people right there. So those are all the folks that are not mulattoes, Negroes, and freedmen. Those are what make up their ranks. See, now you put against Negroes whose only existence was, you know, on the cotton fields, on the plantation, you know, doing the dirty work for this lazy nation. And let me tell you what developed in their name. Let me tell you what happened to their population. Their population, because, you know, they had Negroes doing the work, they filled themselves with rogues and vagabonds and idle and dissipated persons. They had beggars and jugglers. I don't know, don't you pay jugglers? Those folks have jobs. Anyway, persons practicing unlawful games. They're too lazy. See, they didn't have to do no work, so they just got, you know, folks with plays and runaways and drunkards and common night walkers. These are white people. Pilferers, lewd, wanton, or lascivious persons. White people that have nothing better to do with their white life back in 1865. But to do, because Negroes were doing the work. Me and you. Yeah, these people lascivious persons in speech or behavior, common railers, brawlers, persons who neglect their calling or employment, because why? You got niggas to do it for you, right? Right? I mean, what? Right? I mean, if you get in a rut, you just pick up the nearest Negro and you can go. You ain't gotta work. You got a Negro. And if you are so inclined to find a Negro and have him put to work, you know, and if he decides to leave, you can just have him brought back. And this is what developed people like that, right here. misspend what they earn, don't provide the support for themselves and family dependents, idle, disorderly persons, included negligent, all lawful business, habitually spend their time free. White people of 1865. It's a wonder they're still alive. Yeah, I said it. Let's continue. Hey, you read it.
Including all who neglect all lawful business, habitually misspend their time by frequenting houses of ill fame, gaming houses, or tippling shops, shall be deemed and considered vagrants under the provisions of this act, and upon conviction thereof shall be fined not exceeding $100, with all accruing costs, and be imprisoned at the discretion of the court, not exceeding 10 days.
All right, so that entire section, section 1, as we see right there, that they just wanted to make sure white folks knew that they are, in these list of black codes, there's a section for everyone else, just in case you come here and you see Negroes being round up, put to work, brought back to their place of work, called, vagrant, whatever, if you're white and you come here, we're gonna get you. That's what that means. Okay, now they're back to us.
Section 2. All freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes in this state, over the age of 18 years, found on the second Monday in January 1866, or thereafter, with no lawful employment or business, or found unlawfully assembling themselves together, either in the day or night time, and all white persons assembling themselves with freedmen, free Negroes, or mulattoes, or usually associating with freedmen, free Negroes, or mulattoes, on terms of equality, or living in adultery or fornication with a freed woman, free Negro, or mulatto, shall be deemed vagrants, and on conviction thereof shall be fined in a sum not exceeding, in the case of a freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, $50, and a white man $200, and imprisonment at the discretion of the court, the free Negro not exceeding 10 days, and the white man not exceeding 6 months.
So how do you feel? Did you hear that black code, that nice, all one section? One section. I want to know if you heard that, because that's important for you to understand the design that they had. Okay, this is the state of Mississippi, and they've gone nowhere. All they've done is procreated. They're everywhere. They're all around you. They're in the state of Mississippi, the state of Alabama. You know what messes me up? So many Negroes grinning cheese in their faces, trying to appease. And it's a disgrace as I see these individuals still exist, and they still insist. If you don't believe me, try to resist. All freedmen, this is the law. This is black codes of 1865. All freedmen, free Negroes, and mulattoes of the state over the age of 18, found on the second Monday in January 1866 or thereafter with no lawful employment of business. So you got a year. This was put into act in 1865. So effectively, they're giving you a year to get your shit together or get out of the state of Mississippi. And if you like Negroes, get out. This is who they are. Don't look away. Don't act like this didn't exist. Listen to what they say. I insist. With no lawful employment or business after the second Monday in January 1866, if they don't have any lawful employment or business, are found unlawfully assembling themselves together, either in the day or nighttime. Do you fucking hear this? This is what they wanted Negroes to be constrained under. These are the black codes of Mississippi, 1865. You think this sentiment has gone away? You better look at Donald Trump today. Here's what they wanted. So you can't congregate either day or night. All white persons can't assemble with them either. No freedmen, no Negroes, usually associating with them on terms of equality is what I really wanted to pay attention to. So effectively what they said, if they see white people and Negroes together associating on terms of an equality, that is an offense to the Mississippi white mind. Where do you think those cretins are? They're in your government, okay? They're all around you in the state of Mississippi. Same exact sentiment. They don't like seeing Negroes commiserating with white folks. You know, I don't give a damn where you're from, and I don't care the put on that you live through. I don't care if they're amongst you. I don't give a damn. You know why? Because under the surface of each of these individuals lies the true sentiment and their true mind. And it doesn't take but a single push, less than that in some instances. So while you go about pretending, grinning, and cheesing and thoroughly appeasing caucasity, easing their consciousness, don't you ever forget that this is this. This happened, okay? The sentiment is still here. It's rising. It's drawing ever near. What do you want me to say, folks? I mean, I'm putting all aside jokes. White supremacy is on the comeback. Neo-Nazism. It's on track with Donald Trump at the helm. I'm reading this to remind you that it never went anywhere, that it is thoroughly entrenched within the fabric of this country. So much so that they wrote this shit. And they say here that if you have that temerity to put yourself on equal footing with a Negro, they will fine you $200 and imprison you not exceeding 6 months. White, black, man, woman, it doesn't matter. That's a sentiment. That's in their fabric. You don't shake that shit. You kill that shit, and that shit's still alive. Okay, well, I'll continue with Section 3 so we can get this over with.
Section 3. All justices of the peace, mayors, and aldermen of incorporated towns, counties, and cities of the several counties in this state shall have jurisdiction to try all questions of vagrancy in their respective towns, counties, and cities, and it is hereby made their duty, whenever they shall ascertain that any person or persons in their respective towns, and counties and cities are violating any of the provisions of this act, to have said party or parties arrested, and brought before them, and immediately investigate said charge, and, on conviction, punish said party or parties, as provided for herein. And it is hereby made the duty of all sheriffs, constables, town constables, and all such like officers, and city marshals, to report to some officer having jurisdiction all violations of any of the provisions of this act, and in case any officer shall fail or neglect any duty herein, it shall be the duty of the county court to fine said officer, upon conviction, not exceeding $100, to be paid into the county treasury for county purposes.
So they legislated being bad into law, so that those who don't like what they saw can say nothing, and it can continue. So that even in doing nothing, you may be fined. This is the way their minds are so inclined. I don't understand when we lost it. I don't understand. What was the cost too? Some of y'all are, I think they religionized Negroes. They put you in church, or they got the entertainment in front of you. I don't know when you took the eye off the ball, but I see Negroes refocusing through it all. And I hope you are focused, because it's gonna get real hairy in this country. It's gonna get real scary, if you wonder. Let's go to Section 5. We're almost done. Relax.
Section 5.
Wait.
All fine.
Section 4, please.
Section 4. Keepers of gaming houses, houses of prostitution, prostitutes, public or private, and all persons who derive their chief support in the employments that militate against good morals or against law shall be deemed and held to be vagrants.
I don't know if they did that, but okay.
Section 5. All fines and forfeitures collected by the provisions of this act shall be paid into the county treasury of general county purposes,
Right.
and in case of any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto shall fail for 5 days after the imposition of any or forfeiture upon him or her for violation of any of the provisions of this act to pay the same, that it shall be, and is hereby, made the duty of the sheriff of the proper county to hire out said freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, to any person who will, for The shortest period of service, pay said fine and forfeiture and all costs, provided, a preference shall be given to the employer, if there be one, in which case the employer shall be entitled to deduct and retain the amount so paid from the wages of such freedman, free Negro or mulatto, than due or to become due, and in case freedman, free Negro or mulatto cannot hire out, he or she may be dealt with as a pauper.
So, do you understand the lock they had on Negroes? Do you understand the lock they have still? Do you not understand this is still the law of the land? This is not going away. This is still here today. And if you think for a second that it's just not the enforcement that's disappeared, I need you to understand it's the sentiment that's still here. That's what's still here. They want to, if they could do this, they do it and worse. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say this because you need to hear this. You know what? I've asked this question before on my lives. I'm going to ask you again. Tell me what you say. Now, we know, Negroes know how to live without any supervision. I'm going to tell you why I know this is true before you get into your feelings. Negroes know how to live without any supervision. They can live without any police, without anybody policing them. But I'm going to ask you a question. If our oppressors thought that no one was there to police them, if our oppressors then felt, if the typical white man and woman, the typical individual that we all associate racist white people with, I'm not talking about all the people that are fooled into believing that they're white and not a part of a tribe where they will shortly return. I'm talking about those that embrace the racist classification created by the quote unquote white nation. I'm talking about those folks. Okay, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right. It is look, here's what I want to do. If we decided to not be policed and no one was coming, we'd help each other. But if they felt that no one was coming to police them, I don't think they'd call us a brother. You ever considered that, you know, if there was no police coming, if there was nobody coming to help, what they would do, how they would act out? It would be eventual. It would be a gradual move toward Tulsa. Yeah. All these massacres that happened to Negroes in this country back to back to back in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, that is an energy within these beings. And the only reason you're not commonly seeing it is because there's a buffer between their actions and their consequences. But if there were no help coming, if there were no consequences for their actions in any way, what do you think they would do by the end of the day, especially with a little alcohol to push them that way? And if a Negro comes into their view, what do you think they're going to do? Don't act like these people aren't who they are. You know, don't do that, because this is who they are. Okay. All right. I hope you understand that. I hope you understand that, folks. This is all a joke. This is all pretend. They're all pretending. I'm going to say it outright, without amending. They're all pretending. If there was no one, if they thought no one was coming to help Negroes, they'd kill every one of us. They would. They'd do away with every black face in their view. And every one of you knows it too. Let's continue. I ain't here for your damn, I'm not here to tickle your ears. And I ain't here to foster your fears. Let's see section 6.
Section 6. The same duties and liabilities existing among white persons of this state shall attach to freedmen, free Negroes, or mulattoes, to support their indigent families and all colored paupers, and that in order to secure a support for such indigent freedmen, free Negroes, or mulattoes, it shall be lawful, and is hereby made the duty of the county police of each county in this state, to levy a poll or capitation tax on each and every freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, between the ages of 18 and 60 years, not to exceed the sum of $1 annually to each person so taxed.
So taxation because you're a Negro nation. Do you not understand that the Black Codes was an invitation for Negroes to go?
Which tax, when collected, shall be paid into the county treasurer's hands and constitute a fund to be called the Freedmen's Pauper Fund, which shall be applied by the commissioners of the poor for the maintenance of the poor of the freedmen, free Negroes and mulattoes of this state, under such regulations as may be established by the boards of county police in the respective counties of this state.
You know, they had cameras back in this day. I've seen the photos of how Negroes lived in the state of Mississippi about 1865, 66, 67. So whatever money they were getting, it wasn't going to them.
Section 7. If any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto shall fail or refuse to pay any tax levied according to the provisions of the 6th section of this act, it shall be prima facie evidence of vagrancy, and it shall be the duty of the sheriff to arrest such freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, or such person refusing or neglecting to pay such tax.
Stop. Neglecting is not refusing, but it leaves the onus on the sheriff, on the government official, the racist individual, to determine whether or not either you're refusing or neglecting. And in either sense, you get arrested. You like Mississippi, do you?
And proceed at once to hire for the shortest time such delinquent taxpayer to anyone who will pay the said tax, with accruing costs, giving preference to the employer, if there be one. Section 8. Any person feeling himself or herself aggrieved by judgment of any justice of the peace, mayor, or alderman in cases arising under this act, may within 5 days appeal to the next term of the county court of the proper county, upon giving bond and security in a sum not less than $25 nor more than $150, conditioned to appear and prosecute said appeal, and abide by the judgment of the county court, and said appeal shall be tried de novo in the county court, and the decision of the said court shall be final.
What Negro in his right mind in the state of Mississippi in 1865 would say or do anything to attempt to bring a white man or woman to justice? Not a single Negro I can imagine. But it's interesting to have what's written and not understand that the folks that would enforce these laws are folks with opinions, folks with predilections, folks with attitudes regarding Negro connection. So let's finish up an act to amend the penal laws of the state. Now remember, you're in the state of Mississippi here, okay? In reading this, I'm going to say that if you're a Negro in Mississippi today, you should leave. I mean that. You should get out.
Decision of the said.
Wait. There's where we are. Let's do it.
An act to amend the penal laws of the state.
This is going to be good.
Section 1. No freedman, free Negro, or mulatto, not in the military service of the United States government, and not licensed so to do by the Board of Police of his or her county, shall keep or carry firearms of any kind, or any ammunition, dirk or bowie knife, and on conviction thereof in the county court shall be punished by fine, not exceeding $10, and pay the costs of such proceedings, and all such arms of ammunition shall be forfeited to the informer.
So I need you to understand this as we close the show in these sections, just so you know. Yeah, they didn't want any firearm connection. They didn't want you to be armed. They didn't want you to have the ability to take white life. They only wanted it to be in reverse, you know? And, it's an understanding why they might be, scared. But I don't see in Negroes any vengeful kind of leaning. In fact, we're more forgiving in our gleaning. So let's continue.
And it shall be the duty of every civil and military officer to arrest any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto found with any such arms or ammunition, and cause him or her to be committed to trial in default of bail. Section 2. Any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto committing riots, routs, affrays, trespasses, malicious mischief, cruel treatment to animals, seditious speeches, insulting gestures, language, or acts, or assaults on any person, disturbance of the peace, exercising the function of a minister of the gospel with
exercising a function of the minister of the gospel without a license. They did not want you spreading our word to us unfiltered through them. I need you to hear that, folks. Now, I understand all the rest of it. They didn't want you acting like wild animals, like the white men that took you here. They didn't want you acting out because those are the only examples that they allowed near. So when they talk about this itemized acting out, they're talking about what we see them do without doubt. But remember this, when they talk about spreading God's gospel, they want that with a license. Y'all better hear this. You know, they're terrified of us knowing. They're terrified of us knowing. And I'm so glad that we know. Thank you for tuning in to the Doug Wright Show.
disturbance of the peace, exercising the function of a minister of the gospel without a license from some regularly organized church, vending spirituous or intoxicating liquors, or committing any other misdemeanor, the punishment of which is not specifically provided for by law, shall, upon conviction thereof in the county court, be fined not less than $10. And
stop. So if you see something that's not specifically punished by law, $10 and 30 days. You think Negroes belong in this place?
not more than $100, and may be imprisoned at the discretion of the court, not exceeding 30 days. Section 3. If any white person shall sell, lend, or give to any freedman, free Negro, or mulatto any firearms, dirk or bowie knife, or ammunition, or any spirituous or intoxicating liquors, such person or persons so offending, upon conviction thereof in the county court of his or her county, shall be fined not exceeding $50, and may be imprisoned, at the discretion of the court, not exceeding 30 days.
All right, that is that. There you have the Mississippi Black Codes of 1865. It's a wonder that Negroes living in Mississippi are still today alive. I do not understand it. I don't understand it, and I don't give a damn that it was 1865. I'm telling you that the spirit of that, the sentiment of that, is still deeply entrenched within the fiber of this country's attitudes and how they deal with Negroes. I'm going to tell you something. Donald Trump is building an attitude against Negrosity that is miles high. And he can't wait to unleash it upon the population. I'm going to tell you that that's an absolute threat to the Negro nation. Because if he gets back in power, and it looks like he will, he's got a lot more to do to Negroes still. Oh yeah, there we go. This is the Doug Wright Show. Did you like that? I liked it too. And if you did like it, please support what we do. And there's the way to do it. It's scrolling down there. I want to say thank you to my wonderful moderators, Katrina, and of course the sponsor, Twitware. Twid, he's also in there. I'm on fumes. I can't presume to know if I will continue to do this show. I am set to ask for a little bit of help. Hopefully people will see the opportunity and support me. I am a good and safe bet, and I have a lot more to do yet. So please tune into the Doug Wright Show and give to the edifices you see below. Oh man, I brought that home. All right, folks. That's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the show. I really do. Now I've got to go. I've got to take care of business, and let's remind you, please visit our sponsor, twidware.com. Twidware, Twid, the skincare, the beard oil. I'm waiting. The skincare oil, the beard care, the sports gear. Hey, you know what? I might even take me a pair of them shoes. I don't know. I might be able to use. I don't go nowhere. Anyway, all right. Anyway, folks, thanks so much for being here. My name is Doug Rise. Get that goddamn grin off your faces. That's what I do. I like that. That's a nice little. You like that? You do? Okay. All right. I'm out of here, folks. Thanks so much for listening to my jokes. I'm Doug Rice. This is the Doug Rice Show, and we are out of here. I gotta go.